The Girls Club, 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 The Girls Club. It's my club and I'm a girl, yeah.
Hello, and welcome back to the Girls Club. I'm your president, Emily, and if you see me sweating profusely throughout this, you didn't, okay? It's that time of the year where it's officially like not cool anymore, and by cool I mean like it's not lit, it's not fun, it's not a vibe because the weather has reached hot. I am somebody who does not do good in hot. I am a extremely warm person, just naturally. I feel like I am always hot. When people are like, oh, it's so cold, I'm like, no, it feels amazing. And so at the moment it gets over 80 degrees, like I'm cooked, quite literally. Like today it was like 86 degrees and I'm uncomfortable, I'm sweaty. I also have a gray t-shirt on, so like I'm not even kidding. Like if you start seeing sweat stains, like just don't say anything. I can't help it. I also take fucking stimulants, so it doesn't help with the sweatiness of it all, because that shit gets your heart rate up, it gets you sweating, and it gets you warm as fuck. So yeah, that's just my thing. Also, I can't have the air conditioning on while I record because it picks up in the audio. So a lot of fun, super fun things for this lovely, lovely Wednesday or Thursday for you, or whatever day of the week it is. But how is everybody? How's everybody doing? Weekly check-in, club members. How is everyone? Oh my God. What happened last week? So much stuff happened. Oh, a quick update on my life. I fell down the stairs today. You know what's really fun about falling down the stairs is it hurts like a motherfucker. You know, you watch like videos of people falling and eating shit and you're like, you know, that looks terrible, but like you don't really understand how bad it hurts until you eat shit and fall down the stairs. And today was my lucky day. I put on these shoes that like my grandma had given me because, you know, they were like too small for her or whatever. And thank God she gave them to me because those bitches are slippery as fuck. Like she would have ate shit. No questions asked if she was wearing those down some stairs. So thank God she got rid of them and gave them to me because I ate shit for her. And so I put these shoes on. They're like these little loafers. They're super cute, like granny loafers. I felt like Michael Jackson. And I'm walking down the stairs and I'm like, damn, these hoes are a bit slippery. But I'm like, just don't fall. Like I kept telling myself over and over. I'm like, just don't fall, just don't fall. Also, I'm looking at myself in the viewfinder and I look like Morgan Wallen right now, and I'm very disappointed. Very, very disappointed. My outfit in person is way cuter, like if you could see the bottom half of me, but the top half is giving Morgan Wallen, and I actually want to throw up. But I can't take this shirt off because my pit stains are so bad. So, oh God. I couldn't even name one Morgan Wallen song. I threw a chair off a balcony and I'm going back to God's country 'cause SNL was not the place for me. And I'm gonna need some whiskey glasses. I remembered one. There we go. That's a new song called Morgan Wallen, I threw a chair off a balcony. Stream it everywhere. And so yeah, I fell down the stairs and I got a cut on my finger. This hand, I like rubbed raw some part of it, and then you can see a bruise coming in nicely on my forearm. But yeah, me and my roommate joke all the time about every time we go down the stairs being like eating, like thinking we're gonna eat shit, because our stairs are very like narrow. They're not deep. So like half of your foot is like about all that fits on each stair step. So it's really easy to like miss a step or whatever. And it was very comical the way that I fell because I had a Celsius in one hand and it was opened, of course, because if it was closed, that would only make sense, you know? So it was open and I like started to go downstairs. I'm like, damn, these shoes are slippery, don't fall. And then the moment I said that in my mind, my foot was like, made the sound, in my head, it was like that sound when like a cartoon character slips on a banana peel and it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. And it literally, like, that's what it looked like. My foot kicked out in front of me. And then I, like, went down the stairs, like, on my ass and my elbows, like this, gung, 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 until I got to the bottom. Celsius was everywhere. It was really super awesome. And the best part of it was I was on my way to, like, leave to go to work. And so then I took the shoes off immediately, walked my ass back the fuck upstairs, and put on a different pair of shoes. Because I was like, if I did this at my own fucking house, chances are 100% I will do this at work. And I'm not going to embarrass myself like that. Just not going to happen. So, yeah, I appreciate my grandma for giving me those shoes. I probably will not wear them again until I scuff up the bottoms because those shoes were so damn slippery. And, yeah, so anybody fallen down any good stairs recently? So I had this, like, realization the other day as I'm watching, you know, some of my favorite people on like YouTube and TikTok. Like, everybody and their mom right now is like in their blind box era, you know, like a bitch loves a Labubu, a bitch loves a mystery box, a bitch loves, I feel like Sunny Angels aren't as big as they used to be, but like that was a thing last year. And like everybody is obsessed with blind boxes. I kind of talked about this in the past, but it's like Gen Z, you know, we've kind of woken up to the realization that, like, you know, we're probably not going to have a lot of ownership over big ticket items that typical generations, you know, strive their whole lives for, that were during their time very realistic goals to achieve, like purchasing a single family home and like buying a car and like, you know, retiring. But since our generation is like, well, I guess we're just going to rent for the rest of our lives and probably lease a bunch of vehicles, and we just don't ever have ownership over anything. Like, I mean, we stream all of our stuff now. We're not even buying physical media. So it's like I feel like, hit this point of like, we just want ownership over something. So if that means like a $15 piece of plastic that literally like means nothing, like we're going to buy it. Like that's just the vibes. And I'm not better than anybody else. I love a blind box. They're fun. Am I obsessed with them the way that a lot of people are? No. But that's more just because like, I don't like junk. Like I love trinkets and stuff, but I don't love like little things that I'm like, okay, what do I do with this? You know, it's like I'll put some of it like on my desk or whatever, but then it comes to a point where it's just like clutter. Like there's too much shit. Also, I'm a clean freak, so all my mind thinks of when there's a bunch of like little tiny trinkets like that is like every single time I dust, I'm going to have to pick up every single one of those and do it by hand because I can't go over it with like a Swiffer because it's just going to knock them all over. So that's where my head is at with all of that. But a blind box thing that I did get the other day that I'm like obsessed with is a keychain. Let me show you. I guess I got this like a few weeks ago now. I mean, it's probably been like over a month, but I have the most obnoxious keys of all time. They're so loud. School principal simulator. But yeah, I got this little Miffy blind box keychain, and it's so cute. I don't know how well you can see that on camera. But I got that from Five Below, and it was there, and I was like, oh, this is actually like cunt as fuck. Like I need to get that. And it ended up matching my keys perfectly because I also have this like Britney Spears keychain on here that says Lucky on it with like a little flower, and like it says Britney on one of the things. So yeah, I ended up matching that really well. But so I got that as like a little blind box thing a few weeks ago, and I really, really liked that. I felt like that was like one where I was like, okay, this is functional. Like I love a keychain. I love to have like the most obnoxious keys ever because my car doesn't like, it's a push to start car, so I don't have to like hang it on the thing, so it's fine. I just like throw it in my center console and off we go. But what I was saying is, you know, our generation has this obsession with blind boxes, with ownership over just anything. And what I've realized that that has become for specifically the girls and the gays is like blind boxes are our version of like gambling. Like it's gotten to a point where I'm like, you know, spend your money how you want. But half the time I watch like people on the internet open their blind boxes, they're like buying shit that they only need one more of to complete the thing. But they just keep buying and buying and buying and buying, hoping that they're going to get that like one item. And then whenever they don't get it, they just like now have like 10 of the same thing. You know what I'm saying? And it's like become like the girls and the gays version of fucking gambling. And at some point I'm like, no, I think that this is kind of a problem. Like, not to be like a hater on it, because I love a blind box and I think that you should buy whatever you want with your money. But at some point, like there's certain people who I see on the internet who are spending hundreds of dollars like a week on little pieces of plastic. And I'm like just counting up the dollars in my head and I'm like, oh my God, like that is kind of a bad spending habit to get. You know what I mean? It's almost like it's like very obsessive to the point where I'm like a bit concerned. But then I'm also like, straight men have fucking gambling. So let us have the fucking blind boxes, you know? A vice for a vice. At least at the end of the day, when you get a blind box, you have ownership over something. Whereas like gambling, it's like if you don't win, it's like, well, there goes my money. You know? So yeah, I just thought I would like talk about that a bit because I was like, the blind boxes have gotten a bit out of control. Like I love an opening, but like the dopamine that people get, like the instant dopamine rush and then crash that people get opening like little trinkets and like pieces of actual just like plastic garbage is probably unhealthy in the long run. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of giving addiction. Oh, is she gonna take it there? I think she is. Like it's kind of giving like, ooh, I don't know. So I think they're fun when they're fun, but at the same time I'm kind of like, it should be like a like special treat kind of thing. It shouldn't be like once a week you're showing up at Pop Mart to buy like fucking $100 worth of blind boxes. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know, maybe that's just like what I'm seeing on my algorithm. But there's certain people who I'm like, oh my God, girl, you need to take a tea break on your blind boxes. Okay, so recently I've been having these like moments where this is gonna be like very embarrassing to say out loud. And you know, if you relate, you relate. And if you think I'm an idiot, then that's also very valid. Like, fair point. You know, you've got a point. But my whole life, I've been very terrible at spelling. Okay. And as an adult, it doesn't really matter so much because we have like autocorrect and we have like I have Grammarly plugins on every device that I own because I frequently will misspell things. It's just like, I think I might have a slight amount of dyslexia because sometimes I will just like for real write a word completely backwards, like, and I'll go read through a script or something that I wrote and I'm like, what the fuck is that supposed to say? Like, I don't know. A lot of spelling errors happen. And when you work in marketing and you're making copy, like I'm writing a lot for, you know, content. And so that's like not good. Because, you know, once you publish it, it's kind of like, oh, fuck. Like if there's a spelling error, it's just a bad look, you know? And so it got me thinking about like when I was a kid, my biggest fucking fear of all time. And I know some people like loved this moment. They looked forward to the opportunity for this moment. And I would like hide in fear of getting called on to be the person who writes on the board. And even furthermore, if we were doing like a required activity that like required everybody to come up on the board and like write their response, I had so much anxiety around that because I was like, everybody's going to find out I cannot spell. And it's going to be so fucking embarrassing. And so all throughout, you know, school, I was terrified of that. And then you go to college and hoes are still writing on whiteboards, and I'm like, can we just stop doing this? Like, I hate it. I'm so bad at spelling. It's so embarrassing. But recently, I have been spelling words that I frequently spell wrong right. And today I was like working on this video for work, and like there was like a couple of words in it that like every single time I write it, I spell the word wrong. God, what was one of them? Oh, operating. I don't know why I always spell operating with too many P's. Like it's like I do 2 P's instead of just one, which now I got to double check because I don't want to be like a fucking idiot. Operating. Yep. 1 P. It's 1 P, baby. But I always would spell that wrong. And I've like made videos, and then my boss reviews them and she's like, hey, yeah, you spelled chief operating officer wrong. I'm like, oh, perfect. Chief also. I get the I and the E switched every single time. But yes, I've been spelling certain words that I frequently spell wrong correctly recently. And the dopamine that I get, like the rush, the high that I get when I Google search, because I want to double check if I spelt it right or not. And like it just is how I spelt it, is how it's actually spelled. Oh my God, I feel like Albert Einstein. Like I feel like the smartest person in the whole world. And that's probably going to make me look really fucking dumb. But at the end of the day, it's like, I don't know why. I'm just bad at spelling. I've never been good at it. It's been something that's been so hard for me my whole life, which is so interesting because I've been learning Japanese for like the past, like, I don't know, 6 or 7 months now. And I started learning by learning the alphabet and learning how to read and write in the 3 alphabets that they use. And it's actually comical how much better I am at spelling in Japanese than I am in English. And that's just proof that like the English language makes no motherfucking sense. Like it does not make sense. Like all of the grammar rules, all of the spelling rules contradict each other. The pronunciation of words versus how like they're written and how we're taught to learn how to say like our vowels and our consonants, like 90% of the time are like wrong. Like I don't know. So it's just really funny to me because I'm like learning the second language and it's coming to me easier in terms of like the grammar and the spelling than English ever has. And that's just really crazy. The pronunciation though, girl, it's embarrassing. Like you do not want to hear me speak Japanese. It feels a bit like wrong. It's like the accent is not there. Like it's really bad. I saw this video of this guy speaking Spanish. He like him and his wife like went on a trip to Mexico or something, and she was like recording him. And I guess they're from California, and she was recording them. And they like just showed up, and this guy who was a local was trying to like sell them like an excursion or sell them something. And I guess her husband like speaks Spanish like fluently, but he doesn't use like an accent at all. So he just is full American English accent speaking Spanish. It was the funniest thing I've ever heard in my entire life, but he was speaking fluently. Like he was doing like the cadence of words correctly. Like he was, you know, speaking quick. Like it was just so funny because he had no accent at all. It was a total American accent speaking Spanish. And I'm just like, that's so interesting to hear because, you know, we always hear people speaking our native tongue in, if that's their second language, like they have an accent that we associate with it. But like, I've never heard, well, I'm sure I have in like media and stuff, but like, it's probably not as easy for me as a non-native speaker to catch as it would be for somebody who's like a native like Japanese speaker. Hearing me speak Japanese is probably like such a hard thing to hear. It's probably so bad and so like, ugh, because I have to do it so slowly in order to like pronounce things correctly. So talking, if I was like talking to a native speaker, they probably would literally be like zoning out trying to focus on what I'm saying because I take so long to like complete a statement. Especially if I'm reading, girl, if I'm reading that shit, if I'm reading something in my head, I'm like, okay. Like I'm reading each character individually, pronouncing each character for the correct amount of time, and then like slowly saying the word, like sounding it out like I'm a baby, being like all apple. Like that's literally how I'm talking in Japanese. And oh my god, it would give me the ick for sure. Yeah, falling down the stairs today also gave me the ick really bad of myself, because it was like in that moment of me falling, sorry, not to get it back to this falling down the stairs thing. In that moment of me falling, I felt like I could see myself from a bird's eye aerial view of just my body being like, do, down the stairs. And I was like, ew, I would never have sex with that. I would never want to fuck that. So yeah, the police are coming to get me for being a bad bitch. Hey. Okay, I've talked enough about bunch of random stuff. Did you guys ever listen to E40? Yeah. That's all I was going to say about that. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of things that I saw on the interwebs the past week/weekend that I had to speak about. First things first, on the release, drop this and let the whole world hear it. Let them know. Iggy Azalea, man, that is a crazy run for music right there. GGY. I'm so fancy. Really bad music. Okay, so there's two things that I really want to talk about. So I feel like I should get to the main topic of the episode first. Or it's not even going to be the main topic of the episode. It's just what I'm going to use in the clickbait title. Okay, because what I'm finding out on YouTube is if I make a title that isn't like some fucking pop culture clickbait drama ass thing, my video gets no views. The algorithm fucking hates it. So I'm going to, and then what's funny is when people find my YouTube channel from, like, I don't know, the algorithm pushing out something because I make this clickbait title, and they comment and they're like, it took her 30 minutes to get to the title of this video. And it's like, yeah, I know, but I just had to do a clickbait title. Have you ever seen Trisha Paytas' podcast? That girl will put the craziest fucking title of all time, and then like she talks about it for like 30 seconds. So don't hate the player, hate the algorithm. Hate the algorithm. Algorithms have made everything terrible. They really have. They truly have. Okay, so yeah, I guess the clickbait thing I'm going to talk about today is James Charles. And, I don't know how much you guys know about James Charles. I unfortunately know so much about James Charles because I was on beauty YouTube back in the day, okay? I unfortunately was a massive Jeffree Star fan. I was a huge Shane Dawson. I loved Tati Westbrook. I loved all of the makeup MUAs, okay? Or I guess that would be makeup artists. I loved all of the YouTube MUAs, back in the day. And when James Charles popped up on the scene, I was about that life too, unfortunately. Okay, so when Bi Sister happened, which if you don't know about Bi Sister, like I really can't help you. I don't even know how I could explain Bi Sister in less than like 3 hours time. But the long of the short of it is James Charles, at the time teenager, okay, had beef / a falling out with a bunch of damn near 40-year-old makeup artists on YouTube who he was friends with because he, this is so stupid, because he was at Coachella and posted on his Instagram story about sugar hair care vitamins, okay, which was at the time his, quote, best friend, aka a damn near 40-year-old woman, Tati Westbrook. She had a supplement vitamin hair care thing that she was also promoting at the time. And so basically she got mad at James for promoting another brand's stuff because she felt like he went behind her back and betrayed her and all this shit. So basically Tati, the girl who had her vitamin company, came on the internet and basically aired out James and calling him crazy shit. And you did it at my birthday, you know, saying that he is like kind of giving pedo vibes, hanging out with like young boys, trying to seduce straight men into like, quote, hooking up with him or whatever. So yeah, she was like airing out his laundry, and then Jeffree Star was also in the mix of it because he always fucking is, because he's Satan reincarnated for real, and he just loves to just be in the drama. That's the only thing that keeps him fucking relevant. And then Shane Dawson got into it because Shane Dawson and Jeffree were putting out a documentary series on Shane Dawson's channel because he was a, quote, documentary filmmaker, which his documentaries were fucking stupid. And they were also releasing their own makeup line at the time called the Conspiracy Palette because Shane Dawson makes conspiracy videos. You guys, we'd be here all day if we talked about Bye Sister. Okay. It's just too much. So anyways, so when that all happened, okay, that was James's like first big cancellation. Okay. The internet fucking hated him until he came back online and, you know, he gave this long ass apology video to Tati and to all of, you know, the internet basically being like, I'm sorry for what I did. Like, I'm just a kid, blah, blah, blah. And the internet was on his side. Like, everybody was like, actually, you know what? It's weird that this old lady's bullying you and this fucking old man is bullying you. And, you know, this is crazy. Like, you're the young person here. Like, you know, whatever. And he came with receipts to basically, quote, prove that he wasn't weird with minors, and I don't know. But then and also Jeffree Star like apologized and Tati apologized, and they were all like, yeah, we kind of made a bunch of that stuff up. Yeah, anyways, so the internet was back on James's side. That's his first round of like getting out of cancellation. And at the time, it was like insane drama. It was literally called like Dramageddon. Actually, Dramageddon was Jeffree Star and Manny MUA and all of those people. Okay, we're getting off topic. So, anyways, James he gets out of the internet hating him, and the internet really hated him. Like, he lost like a fuck ton of followers like overnight after Tati put that video out. He says he's sorry, whatever, and you know, Tati apologizes. Everybody's like kind of okay, but for the most part, the internet took James's side. Okay, fast forward a few years or whatever, James gets canceled again because he's gotten caught this time. Now he's an adult man, okay, and now he's gotten caught talking to minors. Okay, he admits it. He puts a video out and he's like, I apologize. I was like, you know, whatever. I shouldn't have been talking to that person. I shouldn't have done this, whatever. And so at this point, the internet's like, this guy's kind of a creep. And, you know, why is he still platformed? At this time, he had makeup lines with like Morphe and stuff. And I'm pretty sure they like discontinued their palette. Morphe has just done brand deals with like all of the worst people you could think of. I don't think that company even exists anymore. Or they might, but I don't think they're like making new products. Like, I don't know. So after that, a bunch more people were kind of like, you know what? I'm done with James. And I was done with James like kind of around, it was like 2020 when Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson were getting canceled. That's like when I stopped watching all those fucking people. But so yeah, James gets canceled again, and then he like does his apology and he gets out of it. And his apology was like very like weird because he like admitted to doing it, and then people were like, oh, you're so brave for doing this. And I'm like, I no, like, how does this person still have a platform? Whatever. Okay, the most recent thing he's done so many things in between all of this, okay, where he's gotten, like, quote, canceled, but, like, the man still has, like, millions of followers and makes millions of dollars, and, you know, cancel culture doesn't work, and it fucking sucks, because, like, these are horrible people that should not be platformed, but they are. The most recent thing that he did, this influencer, Kayla Malec, is, well, I guess not anymore, but a few weeks ago was, like, everywhere you looked on the internet, people were talking about her and her ex-boyfriend, because she had recently come out with, you know, no longer allegations, because he has been arrested and since in jail. So congratulations to her. But at the time, allegations of domestic abuse and him being just an overall piece of shit. Okay. And she had posted, like, multiple part series on her YouTube channel, talking unfiltered about all of it and basically laying out a timeline of their relationship and how psychotic he was. And I watched all of them, and it was so sad and hard to watch, because this girl's, like, freshly 21. She's so young, and, like, men are just fucking disgusting. And this guy was just, like, just the worst of the worst. And I'm not going to get into it, because it really is, like, if you want to learn about it, you can go look up her video, and, you know, it's not my story to tell. But happy that she has gotten her justice and that he is now in jail, because I hope that bad shit happens to him while he's in there as well, because he's, like, an actual piece of garbage. But after they broke up, James had reached out to Kayla, because in the past they had done some YouTube videos together, some TikToks together, because she also does some makeup content, and James, you know, he loves to hang out with young people. Mind you, James is my age, or maybe a year younger than me, but, you know, closer to 30 than 20 type shit. And Kayla is 21 now, but, like, in her old videos with him, like, they were, like, she was younger. So that's, you know what I'm saying? Like, why are you hanging out with all these young people? And he reached out to her and was like, hey, do you and your boyfriend want to do this video with me of, like, you doing his makeup? And she responded back to him and was like, oh, we broke up, actually. He's a piece of shit. And, like, I'm making a video about it, and I'll talk about all of it when I get the chance, but, like, it's way too much to send over text message. And he was like, OMG, so can I have him now? And she was like, LOL, like, he abused me or whatever. And it was just, like, one of those things where I'm like, that's actually such an insane thing to say. Like, your friend, quote, your friend, texts you, tells you that her and her boyfriend broke up because he's crazy, and that she's making a video to basically, like, expose him for all of the horrible shit he put her through. And your first response is, can I have him now? Just so insane, right? Also, her boyfriend has never been, like, I don't believe, vocal about being bisexual or anything. So that's just, like, another, you know, check mark on the box of James being just, like, a weirdo and, like, not looking great with his past, because it had been alleged that he had sought out straight men to, like, quote, turn gay, like, whatever that means. But, like, that was, like, his type, was, like, young straight dudes. So yeah, the internet was like, what the fuck? Like, why would he say that? And the reason all this got brought to attention was because this guy who was, like, friends, I guess, with the boyfriend has, like, since come out and, like, went on this podcast and was, like, talking shit on James Charles, and, like, had alleged that James and Kayla's ex-boyfriend, the piece of shit who's in jail, had, like, slept together and, like, done all these things together. And that's all alleged. And the podcast that he was on didn't provide any evidence or anything. So it's just like, whatever. It sounds like this guy is kind of a grifter and is just like taking Kayla's side because that's what's good for the story, and he wants to, capitalize off the clout. So I don't know. It's like all these men are so much louder, and I'm like, the only person we need to hear from is the girl who went through it and fought for her, life, and also for her abuser to go to jail. So I don't really give a fuck what all these men are talking about. But so yeah, he puts James on blast. James is silent. He doesn't say anything for like 2 weeks after the Zach guy brings up all of these allegations. Okay. Then James comes out after the ex-boyfriend is, about to go to court. Okay. And his whole reason for not speaking up sooner and not clearing his name and not whatever was because he didn't want to disrupt the trial, and he didn't want to like possibly, fuck anything up for Kayla. But you wouldn't have done anything for the trial. You know what I mean? Like, this would not have changed any of the case that they were bringing to the judge and whatever. Also, it was not even a jury trial. So I don't know. So he finally comes out and speaks about it before the trial is over. So it's like, okay, you waited all this time for what? My theory is he waited all this time so that way if this guy didn't actually go to jail and didn't get arrested, he could just start hanging out with him again. You know what I'm saying? So he just wanted to be on the quote, like, winning side, which is so fucked up. It's like, if your friend tells you that her boyfriend was an abusive piece of shit, you shouldn't be hanging out with him, because this is what came out. After James had already known that Kayla had been abused by her ex-boyfriend, like she had told him, he invited him to come stay in LA with him. After Kayla had been vocal about him abusing her. And after he had made that stupid fucking statement about, like, can I have him now? Lo and behold, this bitch flies them out to LA and they're kikiing at James's house together. They're watching movies. They're hanging out. He's trying to, like, help him feel better after this breakup, because he was like saying that he was manipulating me and I didn't know any better and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, James, you got like 7 years on this kid. And your friend told you that he was a piece of shit fucking loser that beat her. And you have him posted up at your house like he's your fucking like boyfriend. That's fucking disgusting and crazy. So James comes on TikTok and is like saying, me and Kayla weren't even that good of friends, actually. And, me and Evan never hooked up and we didn't do anything, and all we did was watch movies, and I was just trying to hear his side of things. And it's like, you don't need to hear his side of things. If you are a good friend to somebody, even if they're not even your close friend, if any girl that I had like an acquaintanceship with told me that shit, number one, once a girl dates somebody, that person is not attracted to me. Like, I'm not attracted to that person anymore, because it's like, it's girl code. You know what I'm saying? So on top of that, she tells you that he's an abusive piece of shit, and your first thought is, let me get my hands on that. You are fucking crazy, and you are a bad fucking person. So it's like, it's just so frustrating too, because he is so much older than everybody in this situation. I don't know. People in his like comments were being like, I'm on James's side of this and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, how? This is the same shit that he does every single time he gets canceled, and he threatens lawyers. He's like, he threatened that Zach Sellers guy. He's like, and I'm going to sue you. And I've let YouTube know and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, Mr. Moneybags. But like, at the end of the day, like, you are still in the wrong for this. And people aren't seeing that. People are just being like, oh yeah, he came with receipts. And I'm like, his receipts were bad. It made him look bad. Hello? Did we not read the same fucking text message? Did we not see the same fucking, thing laid out in front of us? What do you mean he came with receipts? Yeah. And they validated everybody's opinion on him being a piece of shit. I don't know. It just pisses me off because I'm like, there are people like that who have such a giant platform, such a huge platform. And it's like, if they were a real life person, you know, they had a real life 9-to-5 job and they were pulling this shit, they would get fucking fired. If you were like messaging your coworkers like ex and like fucking them and then bringing the drama into the work, which is their work is social media, and you're bringing the drama into work and y'all are having like weird spats with one another and whatever, like you would be fired. So it's just like, it's just so fucking annoying because like the reality that they live in is so just like delusional and insane. And for him to just like constantly get passes on being a literal piece of shit person, it's the exact same as Jeffree Star. They're the same person, just in different font, if we're being completely honest. Like, racist, check. Freaky with younger people, check. Mean, check. Annoying, check. Like, y'all are the same fucking person. The only difference is Jeffree, you know, didn't have his ass out at Coachella that one time. But I'm sure he would if the opportunity presented itself. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's James Charles lore. Also, there's like Austin McBroom shit going on, and oh my god, I don't know if you guys saw anything about that. I hate that man so much. Maybe I'll talk about that next week. I can't get into it right now. It's too much. The lore is too deep. Okay, so for the last portion of the podcast, I asked you guys this week. I just put a Ask Me Anything out on the Instagram story. So I will be answering your questions now. First question, why do we automatically assume eggs in recipe are chicken eggs? I would say probably because it's the industry standard egg. You know, it's the most accessible egg in America for sure. Has to be the like most sold, most accessible, most stores have it of any other egg. I don't think I've ever seen, actually, now that I think about it, at like a traditional grocery store, any egg beside a chicken egg. Like at an international grocery store, I've seen like quail eggs, or like at like a specialty grocery store, but not at like a Kroger or like a Walmart. I've never seen anything besides that in the states that I've lived in. So I would assume that's probably why. If I think too hard about eggs, I've never been that person where it's like, sometimes eggs just gross me out. Like, I can always get down with the egg. But if I think too hard about like actually the process of it, I think I'm just so ignorant about like that like it hurts my brain if I think too hard about it. Cause I'm like, I'm not even gonna get into it because I will embarrass myself. But I think that's probably why. Next one. Everyone always says to be your age again. I'm 22. What do they mean by that? Well, let me tell you. I'm 27. And to you, that probably seems so old. And you know, it is in the grand scheme of your 20s. I feel like 26 to 27, and what I'm assuming 28, whatever, you're starting to get into the groove of life. You're starting to figure your shit out. You're starting to have a sense of self. And not that you don't at a younger age, but like, I feel like your frontal lobe develops, you know what I'm saying? So you start thinking a lot differently about a lot of stuff. But B, it's like you don't have as much responsibility at that age. So that's part of it. It's like your life is so much ahead of you in terms of like the like big stuff, that there's a lot that like you haven't had to like deal with yet. So that part of it is like, you know, oh, I'm kind of jealous of that, of like being 22 and just like, you know, you don't have a ton of responsibility in terms of like the grand scheme of like life's responsibilities, right? Like, of course you have responsibilities if you're like paying your own bills, if you're like paying for your school, if you have a job, if you have, you know, homework, like whatever, like that all exists. But at the same time, like life gets a lot more real the older that you get. And then the second thing is just like your body is just different. You know, when you hit 24, 25, you start going through what's called a second puberty, basically. Like, that's what I would call it. It's, you start looking a lot more womanly. Let's just put it that way. Your hips get wider. You start carrying fat more in your boobs, in your butt, in your stomach, in your thighs. You get more like voluptuous, I would say. And then you also, like, your hormones get crazy because you're closer to, at the time I thought it was like because you're closer to like childbearing age, but then I found out from a nurse that it's actually because you're closer to menopause. I was like, oh my God, it's because my body is telling me that like this is the perfect time to get pregnant, like whatever. It's like, no. That was like actually like when I was 18, 19, 20, 21. Like, not to say that, like, you should get pregnant then, but I'm like your chances of your fertility is better then, for the most part, when you're younger 20s than your later 20s, like, obviously. But I was like, when I was like 25, I was like, dang, it's like my periods are fucking terrible now, and my cramps are horrible, and like all this shit. I'm like, it's probably because I'm like good. It's getting closer to my body being like, it's time to have a baby. And then a nurse was like, no, it's actually because you're getting closer to menopause. I was like, oh, perfect. I love that. You also start getting acne again. It's like all of the shit that you went through when you were a teenager, the first round, it happens again. So that sucks. And then also you just start aging. You know, it's like your late 20s, and is that first point in my life that I ever noticed like visible aging or physical aging in terms of like how I feel. Like, I have to stretch for a long time before I can just work out and not hurt myself anymore. I will wake up with back pain if I sleep a certain way too long. My boobs are not as perky as they once were. My skin is not as tight as it once was. I have like crow's feet a bit on my face. Like, I'm noticing like physical signs of aging, as well as like you just don't feel as good, especially if you're a drinker. Once you kind of hit like 24 years old, the hangovers start becoming awful. It's just like little things like that. But in the same time, it's like, oh, to be 22 again. But then at the same time, dude, the age that I'm at right now is the best I've ever felt mentally. Like, my whole life leading up to like 25, I didn't know who the fuck I was. I had no sense of self. I had no sense of purpose. I just was like putting on a bunch of hats to kind of figure out what felt right. I didn't have like a groove. I didn't have like a sense of confidence that was like true. It was very like, I would put on this vibe that I was confident, but it wasn't real. It was very like faked. It was like kind of fake it till you make it kind of thing. And I feel like I'm finally at this age where I'm like getting life. Like, I get it. And I have a sense of purpose. I have a drive that I've never felt before in my career. Like, I never thought that I would like be that person that's like, oh, like I really like working. But I've gotten to that point where like I'm finally getting fulfilled in my career, and I see a path of like where it could go. And so it's like little things like that that just make life so much better. And you're just smarter. Like, the older you get, like, experience and, you know, your years on the earth, like, for some people might not equal your intelligence increasing. But if you're seeking out knowledge and you're wanting to learn more, because your brain is developed, you're finally able to like absorb information properly. And so that's another thing that I've really enjoyed about getting older, is like I'm able to retain the shit that I'm learning because I'm seeking out things that I care to learn. It's not like, oh, I'm in this class and I have to do it for this credit. It's like something that I have sought out on my own to learn, whether that's another language, whether that's an instrument, whether that's a new skill. Like, there's so much that you can like level up on once you're an adult and have your own time and your own like passions that, you know, when I was younger, I didn't have, because like you're so influenced by everybody around you, and that's normal. Like, that's how everybody is, that like it's hard to establish who you are and what makes you you until you're like older and you're not in school and you're not in all these things. So yeah, I mean, that's what they mean by that. I feel like a lot of people are most jealous about like their body or their, you know, physical health at that age. But at the same time, it's like, you know, when you get older, you stop giving a shit about dumb stuff too. Like, you know, I don't care that I have stretch marks anymore. I don't care that I have cellulite. I don't care that I don't have a flat stomach. It's like I started enjoying myself more. I started getting more comfortable with my body. Like, so many good things happen with aging. And so, yeah, I think a lot of people just are scared to get older, but I've been really liking it so far. This one says, do you miss shooting Society 97? So if you didn't know, I did a podcast before this called Society 97 with a friend, and yeah, I did that for, I don't know, like 3 years, and it was a lot of fun and I really enjoyed it. I definitely miss like doing a YouTube channel with somebody. That's like a lot of fun to do. However, it comes with a lot of like difficulties as well, like scheduling wise and like planning things, because it's like we didn't live together, and so it was like really hard to make time to do that. And also like I had a lot of the responsibility on my end in terms of like all of the production and stuff like that for the podcast. I did all the social media and the editing and all of that, and so it was just a lot for me, because I also had to do it on my co-host's schedule because of her work, which is totally understandable, but it just made for kind of a lot of stress. And you know, it was fun and I really enjoyed doing it, but do I miss it? I don't know if I miss that specifically. I definitely miss our friendship. That's what I miss the most. When we stopped making content, we kind of just like fizzled out, I guess, as friends. So that has really sucked. And I hope that we, you know, start hanging out again someday. Like, I would love that. I definitely miss our friendship a lot. But yeah, I think she's just really busy, and you know, life goes on and people have new eras and people have new, you know, passions in life and people in their lives. And, you know, time is limited. So sometimes you just don't get to hang out with the people that you used to hang out with all the time. And it sucks, but it's just real life. And, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, I definitely miss that part of it, like the friendship part of it, because that for me was always the most fun part. And the videos were just like a bonus. So now that both of those are kind of gone, like that's really tough for me. But yeah, I hope she's doing good, and I hope we can hang out again someday. Okay. How do you get out of a toxic relationship? Girl, I have not dated in like 3 years. I don't think I've had sex in at least two. At least two. How do you get out of a toxic relationship? So all of my relationships were before my frontal lobe had fully developed, and I think that's why I'm not in one anymore. If I'm being honest, it's like I'm at this point in my life where like I am cool. You know, I miss having sex for sure. I miss intimacy, but I do not miss dating people. Like, genuinely, like, oh God. So a toxic relationship too, like, dude, I dated some fucking terrible people when I was in college. It sucks. Like, how do you get out of a toxic relationship? I genuinely feel like when you are in a toxic relationship and you are not the, like, quote, bad one, I feel like the shitty person really has to leave you for real for it to like to get you to go, which it should not be that way. Like it shouldn't. But if you are on the receiving end of like a bad relationship, for every relationship that I've been in, I've never looked at it with clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose. You know what I mean? It's always like, oh, well, if I just try harder, maybe they'll like not cheat on me anymore. And, you know, maybe if I just do this, maybe they'll actually like do what they say that they're gonna do. And it's like, it took them straight up like basically like making me so fucking miserable that I finally left, or it took them just like leaving me. I was also a lot younger. The more recent dating that I did, and as of recent I mean like 3 years ago, when I was like 24, 23, I just made a rule that like I don't date losers. So I'm like, the moment a guy started acting like a loser, and this, I'm not saying like loser in the sense of like, oh, they're into this thing and that makes them a loser, or they like this niche interest and that makes them a loser. No, because I'm a fucking loser if that's what we're qualifying. I'm saying like loser behavior, like canceling last minute on shit. I'm saying like fucking not putting in effort. I'm saying like, you know, complaining constantly, like just loser fucking behavior that I'm just like, I would not want to be friends with you. So why would I want to fuck you? You know what I mean? Once that was my new mentality, it was so easy to cut people off. But a toxic relationship is hard because before it gets toxic, I feel like it's really good, or at least in your mind it is, because compared to the bad, you're like, wow, that was amazing. Because like a piece of shit on the fucking floor would be nice compared to like the bad parts of a toxic relationship, you know? So how do you get out? Tell your parents. Tell your fucking parents. The moment you tell your parents about how shitty, if you have good parents, the moment you tell your parents about how shitty your person is to you, you in your heart of hearts will know it's time to go, because you just made shit real. Because your parents' disappointment probably hurts more than your like fear of breaking up with this person, if that makes sense. I always was like, with people I dated when they were like fucking terrible to me, I was like, if I tell my parents, then I have to leave, because like they're never going to support me dating this person. And you know what I mean? It made it real. So that's what I would say. Just if you're in a toxic relationship and you really can't leave, just tell your parents, and then you will leave. Like your body will start rejecting the idea of that relationship, because you're like, oh my God, I cannot be a disappointment to my mom and dad. But if you have a toxic relationship with your parents, then like, girl, I don't know what to tell you. What's your latest gross girl thing that you do? Let me think here. Let me think. Oh my God, I actually have one. It's really fucking disgusting. So I've gotten in this habit recently of like, if my toenails get like even slightly long, like not even long, just like if they go past my toe at all, I feel like they have to come off. So if I'm in bed and I like, you know, graze my foot against my other foot and I can feel my toenail, I will literally go down there and just rip it off. Like I will sit there and rip my toenails off. And yeah, that's been a new thing. I don't know why. It's like a sensory issue thing where I'm like, ew, I hate it, and I will go down there and rip it off. So yeah, that's my new gross thing that I've been doing recently. I'm not proud of it, because then what I do is, since I'm in bed, I'll just throw it on the floor, and then the next day I have to like wake up and see like these like ripped toenails on the ground, and then pick them up and throw them away. So that's very fucking disgusting and very humbling, and it's like instant regret, you know what I mean? And then also my toenails look crazy, so then I had to trim them anyways the next day, because like now they just look insane because they're like ripped. And if it's not a full rip, it's unsatisfying, and then there's like jagged edge toenails like fucking beast, like a beastly woman. So yeah, very disgusting, but I've been doing it a lot recently, and it's bad. I need to stop. And then the last one, I think it said, can boys be in the girls club? Let me see. What did it say? Are chill guys allowed in the girls club? Of course. Everybody's allowed in the girls club as long as you're not a misogynistic piece of shit. You know? girls, gays, theys, I don't give a fuck. You can come in, but don't be a piece of shit. Don't be misogynistic. Don't be homophobic. Don't be fucking lame. Like, literally don't be a loser, and you are welcome to be here. So yeah, that's all your questions answered. And I'm gonna head out because I am about to pee my motherfucking pants. Yes, I am. But anyways, guys, I love you and thank you so much for being part of this week's club meeting. And I will see you at next week's club meeting. Bye.
The Girls Club, 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 the Girls Club. It's my club and I'm a girl, yeah.